MLB is offering its umpires the same exact package it's offering its players. If you're high risk, you can opt out of the 2020 season and retain your full salary and a credit for service time. Joe West, however, is not taking it. He told the league that he's working in the 2020 season. I'm opting in. He says his heart is as healthy as a horse's, and despite being classified by the league as very high at risk, he says, I don't believe in my heart that all these deaths have been from the coronavirus. I believe it may have contributed to some of the deaths. Which is interesting because the CDC and Johns Hopkins have different statistics on the issue, and West's home state of Florida, actually, does not report probable COVID deaths. They only report confirmed COVID deaths. Different than some of the other states. That's Florida, and Florida has obviously seen a spike as of late. But West is in. West, however, cannot take the entire record from Bill Clem. He's after Bill Clem's all-time games worked regular season record. Can't take that in 2020 and get the outright record. He has to wait for 2021 just due to the numbers. And in 2021, it might be better anyway because we talked about actually wanting to get your outright record with fans in attendance back to some normalcy. You can get a ceremony where you don't have to worry too much about the social distancing and other restrictions related to the virus. But we know from our sources that at least 9 umpires that are not West have opted out for the 2020 season. So let's try to figure out who they might be by going down the list. We turn to the crew chief list because that's where 7 of them, at least, are coming from. And we know West isn't one of them. West might be the league's senior most umpire overall, but he's not the league's senior most crew chief. That's Jerry Davis. That's due to the 99 mass resignation issue. And Jerry Davis is thus the league's senior most crew chief. He has his own milestone coming up, and he could potentially achieve it in the 2020 season. But again, we talked about what good is it achieving if you don't get the ceremony, you don't get the fans, don't get the true experience? He might want to postpone that until 2021, and if you're getting full pay and full credit for time served, why not, right? So Davis might take that. After Davis, it's West, and then after West, the senior most crew chiefs are Jerry Lane, Brian Gorman, Tom Hallion, Mike Winters, Fielding Culbreth. Now, we talked about how all of these people might be in high-risk categories for one reason or another. Remember, it goes age, medical history, and body mass index are certain factors that they consider. So all of them are candidates to opt out, probably. Then you go to more, you sort of have a generational divide because then you get to Ted Barrett, Jeff Nelson, Bill Miller, who might not be in that as high-risk category, so they might not opt out. But you go down again, you get someone like Kerwin Danley, who's a rookie crew chief promoted just this season for 2020. But in terms of the overall scheme, he's going to be 59 years old before he actually steps on the field to serve as a crew chief. So the age might be advanced relative to the promotion, and does he opt out? Let's talk about the number 2, the senior most number 2 umpire of the league. Phil Cuzzi didn't become a crew chief, but he's still going to be 65 years old in August of 2020. Due to age, does he opt out? Phil Cuzzi. That's another question, and again, we have an entire chart of umpires there in the crews, and we see how it works. MLB has offered the opt-out package to umpires. At least 9 of them are going to take it, which is, I suppose, good news for the call-up umpires who might get experience to work. And of course, the problem, however, is that for the call-ups, if they opt out, they hurt their career. Even if they have legitimate reasons to want to opt out, they're going to hurt their career just because they're not permanent on the staff and someone else can just take their spot. It's a really tough situation for them, and you're not going to have a minor league season to fall back on. Really tough for them. But for the major league people who are actually on the staff, you have the option to opt out under certain circumstances. You have the high-risk categories where you get your full pay, you get your full service time, and it'll just be really curious to see how that plays out. Joe West says, doesn't matter, I'm working. And of course, you have another umpire on the sideline, Greg Gibson. He was injured during this offseason. He wouldn't have expected to work the 2020 season anyway, which is just another slot for a call-up umpire to work in 2020. Visit us online at closecallsports.com, Twitter and Facebook at Umpire Ejections. We'll see you on the site, and I guess we'll see Joe West on the field.